you have a big wiring project coming up and you're going to do a lot of wire stripping. So how do you approach it? Do you do like my electrician does, and he uses a blade, a utility knife just to cut the insulation off the wires? Do you use a diagonal wire cutter? Do you use a wire stripper specifically designed for that purpose? Do you go with a long nose plier, which can also strip? Or do you use something like this, which when you select the right size gauge allows you to strip wire? Or do you go for something that's self-adjusting, like this Klein Tools 11061 self-adjusting wire stripper and cutter? In reality, with a proper experience, any of these tools will properly strip off the insulation to copper wiring. But they all involve learning a skill to do it. Whereas with this tool, the self-adjusting wire stripper, you simply put in the wire and you squeeze and the sheath is taken off and you have a properly stripped wire. Or at least that's what it claims. Let's take a look. This tool will strip the sheathing off a Romax 12-2 and 14-2 and other non-metallic cables. And it'll also work with wire gauge 10 to 20 in solid or 12 to 22 in stranded. Once you manage to get past the blister packaging, you have a couple of items. There's the cardboard, but inside the cardboard are 3 language instructions on how to strip wire and care for the product. You get a locking knob that's used to secure the wire length stopper, which you can adjust and then lock in position. And then you have a tension knob. Below are 2 blades for wire cutting. We'll start off with solid core. This is 12 gauge. It's got a double sheathing on it, which might be a challenge for this. So what we do is we put it in, we hit the stop, we press down, it locks the wire in place. We finish the squeeze, and what we see here is that nothing really happened. That's a little disappointing. Let's try it again. Well, that time it gave us a clean cut. Now we can use the blade underneath to trim that off. I'd rather use a wire cutter for that. This required a lot of effort. Let's try this again. Nothing on the first attempt. Nothing on the second attempt. Nothing on the third attempt. Now I have a pair of wire strippers in which you have to manually pick the gauge. So if I come here and pick the gauge, I get a cut. Now this one doesn't have a stop, but as you can see, consistent performance. Let's try this again. There's that sheathing that I was talking about. Here, let's use this blade here to get rid of that. Okay. So it's on the stops. You know, I like the idea that this is self-adjusting, that I don't have to futz around finding the right opening for the cable, but if it doesn't do a cut, then what's the purpose of it, right? So there's a nice clean execution. Copper seems undamaged, nice cut of the sheath, but it's not consistent, which is a problem, especially if you're trying to work fast. Oh, there's a good one. Okay, let's try it again. Almost. So I've noticed one thing. It seems like you have to go to the back of the unit. If you're further up front, Doesn't appear that the gripping teeth have enough to bite on. So let's clip that. Going all the way to the back. Nope, nothing there. There's a good one. So not as consistent as this one, but the advantage is you don't have to look at it. So we'll try a different wire gauge. Here's 14, a bit more flexible. And we put it up against the stop. Nice. Cut. Nice. Oops. Got caught up on. All right, so try again. Yes. So on that smaller size, it works really well. Let me get a different type of wire. Here we have a 14 gauge, but it's not copper. It's either steel. I think it's steel. So let's see. Go to the back. Nice cut. I'm actually going to need a pair of pliers to trim off. It's a tough wire to cut. It shoots across the room. But an easy wire to strip. And if we look at both ends, they look nice and consistent. There's no actual damage to the wire itself. We grab some 12-2, insert, squeeze, pull. It does take off the outer sheath without damaging the paper. That's pretty impressive. I now have cleared off so that we have just the 3 wires and there's no outer sheath to get in the way. I place it in the guide, squeeze down, and nothing. One more time, nothing. And you know, it's not designed for that, so I'm not really expecting miracles. Would have been cool had it actually worked, but it will pull the sheath off the cable to expose the individual wires that are in there. But I should be able to come in here and do that. Grab my other wire and do that. So, and again, I had to make no adjustments. The only adjustments I've made so far is just the length of the cord that I want to expose. In the end, I like this tool for what it can do. It has a comfortable grip on it. It will definitely strip cables for you without you having to make adjustments for them. You could work, I think, faster with this tool, but this requires a little bit more skill in using, in that you have to find the proper opening for the wire that you're using, and this won't work with cable like Romex. So this can possibly make quick work of the stuff, but a skilled professional will do fine just with this. But for those of us who are looking for something that'll help us, it'll be more consistent, especially in the amount of wire that you're going to expose. This is always going to be just the same length all the time without guessing. And you don't have to worry about the gauge that you're inserting in here, or if it's a Romex cable that you're going to dig too deep and damage the wires that are inside the cable. This takes care of that. It's a lot less worry-free. It's a bit pricier compared to something like this, but maybe well worth the cost. If you found this video interesting and useful, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, join the subscription team, and as always, thank you ever so much for watching.